All right, guys. For today, we've been talking a lot about gross pay, and we've talked about deductions like Social Security, Medicare, and insurance and stuff like that. So like today, we're going to actually look at calculating net pay. Not really much different, right? It's just we're going to kind of put everything together. So looking at paycheck deductions and then what your net pay is going to be. So just some key features of a paycheck. And we've talked about this a lot yesterday. We talked about paychecks. Your paycheck will show your deductions. If you've not really looked at your paycheck and seen all of that, next time you guys get paid, go back and look at it. It will show on there deductions for Medicare, Social Security, federal income tax, state income tax, local taxes, health insurance premium. You guys probably don't have that at your jobs, but your parents would. Health insurance premiums. If you have life insurance premium, any retirement or 401k, if you have an HSA, which is a health savings account, right, for medical. If you're in a union, any union dues. Do you see your paycheck getting smaller and smaller the longer I talk? It's disgusting. Did you look at yours yesterday? Made you cry a little bit, didn't it? Welcome to adulthood. Yeah, really look at your paycheck. I mean, you should really be aware of where all your money's going. All right. So the employer's contributions also show on there. So like there's going to be a column that says like what came out of your check and where it went, but there's also that says what your employer has contributed. Because a lot of times your employer contributes to your Medicare and Social Security as well. They pay part of your health insurance. Do they pay the majority or the minority of your health insurance? They pay the majority of it. You only pay a very small percentage of it. What they've contributed to your retirement, life insurance, and whatever else. All right, that's like the second time that's happened. What's going on over there, guys? Brett? Thinking Brett's the guilty one there. All right, so we've talked about gross pay. It's gross how much you actually make, right? Sorry. So gross pay is how much you actually earn, and then your net pay is how much you actually bring home, right? That's minus all of your deductions and everything like that. So you actually take home net pay. All right. Also on there will be your year-to-date totals. So like we were doing with the table yesterday, year-to-date kind of adding, that will also be shown on your paycheck. And then balance of any PTO, personal time off, sick time, if you have vacation time, they'll have those balances if you earn that at your job. You guys may or may not have that at the jobs you work now. Okay? But all of this is on your paychecks. So don't just look at how much money got deposited into your account. Look at everything. Okay? Good. Yes, look at it. All right, so here we go. So calculating net pay, if our gross pay is $2,100. Random. All right, so I just kind of went through and gave you some percentages for roughly kind of what the amounts typically are. So if my gross pay is $2,100, let's figure out how much is coming out of that. So if Medicare is 1.25%, what do I have to do? I have to multiply. All right, we're going to have to multiply the 2,100 times 0.0125. Good. So $26.25. It is. It really is. You don't really stop and think, I don't think as much about it until like I start breaking this down for you. Then you're like, wait a minute. And you go back and look at your paycheck and then you're horrified. Sorry, I'm educating you to make you upset. All right, Social Security, 6.2%. So we're going to have to multiply 2,100 times 0.062. Good, so 130.2, what's that? That's 20. Don't forget the 0, right? Some of you lost points for that. Yeah. I don't. That's okay. It's right there. Be kind of funny, wouldn't it? All right, federal income tax, 10%. That one hurts. So 2,100 times 10%, $210. That one hurts. Federal income taxes. State income tax, 5.5%. So 2,100 times 0.055, $150. $1,550. Health insurance is just typically a fixed amount every pay or every month or whatever, how yours is taken out. So this one's going to be $155. And your dental insurance, oh yes, dental and vision is usually separate from your medical insurance. That's two separate things. Some people don't have dental and vision, but it's always nice to have. It's typically pretty cheap. It's usually reasonably cheap. So for this one's a fixed amount of just $25. All right. So what else could come out of your paycheck besides this? I mean, it could. But like if you're in a union, if you have life insurance, you know. Yes, schooling does too sometimes. Yep. Yep. Isn't that great? Yep. If you live in the same town, you got less taxes to pay. Yes. Really? Do you live in Swan? I'm sorry. Sorry. I went to Wasion, so like Wasion always hated Swan. So. All right. So what are your total deductions? Thank you. Should be $661.95. You can't type. All right, so how are we doing so far? Do we understand how to calculate all your deductions? Yeah, it's a 9. Sorry, I got rubbed on the black. All right. So if I want then to figure out my net pay, you start with your gross pay, which was $2,100. My deductions were $661.95. And then I can calculate my net pay by doing what? Subtracting those. 1438 something and 5 cents. So I grossed 2,100 and I brought home a whopping 1,400 bucks. Yeah. It's a little painful. It's painful. Welcome to adulting. Yay. All right. If this is an example of a bi-weekly paycheck, 26, good. Bi-weekly, you should be thinking 26. Hey guys, I need you guys to focus so we can have time to get through the activity I want you to do today. All right, how much is this person's annual gross pay? All right, now I'm asking about gross pay. So what number am I working with? The gross pay is that the 1,400 or is that the 2,100? It's the 2,100. So it's 2,100 times 26 because it said it was biweekly. Biweekly is 26 pays. Good. 54,600. So that's their gross for the year. So how much is their annual net pay? Well, how much do they bring home each paycheck? It's 1438.05, right? That was their net pay. Then we multiply that by 26. Oh, $37,389.30. Take a look at that difference. So when people are like, yeah, I make $54,000 a year, you're like, you don't bring that home. Not even close. All right, so keep that in mind when somebody's like, oh, I'm going to offer you this job, you're going to make 50 grand a year. And you're like, is that gross or net? Ask them that because they're going to try to sell you on you're going to make $50,000 a year. Be like, I'm not bringing home that much. Okay, so just be aware of that difference. All right, questions so far? We're almost done with the note part for today. All right, housing should cost no more than 30% of a person's monthly net income. Now, our next chapter after this one, starting next week, we're going to start talking about budgeting. So we're going to figure out how much of your check should be allocated to like each part of your life, okay? Housing should be no more than 30%. What is this person's maximum budget for renting an apartment? So 30% of what? All right. Housing should cost no more than 30% of a person's monthly net income. Monthly net. Have we calculated monthly net yet? Now, hold on real quick. This is where people always get themselves confused. Javon, you with me? You awake? All right, so what people always confuse themselves on is I gave you biweekly to start with. Can you switch biweekly to monthly in one step? No, you cannot. I have to take biweekly to yearly, and then I can take yearly and turn that back into monthly. Reason being, if you get paid every 2 weeks, which is biweekly, is there always exactly 4 weeks in a month? No, it's not perfect. That's why I can't go from biweekly, which is every 2 weeks, to monthly. It's not a clean switch. So I have to take biweekly, change it to the year, and then I can take it back to the month. Okay? So for here, do we know their net income per year? Yeah, I know their net income for the year. We calculated that on the previous slide. All right, for the year, they made $37,389.30. That's for the year. So how do I change that to the month? Bless you. Just divide by 12? Don't multiply. Right, if we divide by 12, that will give you their monthly net, which is $3,115.78. That's their monthly net income. So let me ask again. Can I go from biweekly to monthly in one step? Can I go from biweekly every 2 weeks to monthly? No. You always have to kind of take it to the year, and then you can take it back. So just be aware of that. It's going to come up today in a couple of things. Just make sure you're watching for that when that happens. So if 30% is their budget for housing, how do I figure that out? Good. Let's multiply this then by 0.30. Good. $934.73. So for someone who grosses over $54,000 a year, we figured out they only bring in home like $37,000 a year. And then their budget, where they should kind of stay within for renting something, would be $934 a month. That's within what they can rent and afford. So could this person afford to rent an apartment for $800 a month? Yes. $800 is underneath budget, so yes. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay, we'll deal a lot with budget starting next week. All right, questions on anything so far?